This is not a farm. Regular suburban backyard. Standard house. A family of four with no farming background and no equipment beyond what most people already own. By month 12, they were producing half their own food. A family in Ohio did exactly this. One corner of their backyard, planted in potatoes, covered most of their starch needs from August through February. That's what a system looks like. Most people who try this never get close to 50%. The effort is there. What's missing is knowing what to plant. They grow 50 pounds of lettuce and feel productive, while their grocery bill barely moves. Lettuce is crunchy water. It doesn't feed a family. This video is about what does. The crops, the order, and the one decision most people skip that quietly determines whether any of this works. 12 months. The backyard you already have. That's all it takes. So, what does 50% self-sufficient mean in practice? Think about it this way. Your household runs on four things: the food you eat, the water your garden needs, the energy your home uses, and how long your supplies last before you need to restock. Right now, almost all of that comes from outside. 50% means you've built a second source across all four. You don't need to master all of them at once. But you do need to move all four forward, in the right sequence, at the same time. Calories first. That means the food you grow replaces what you'd otherwise buy, not just decorates a salad. Water means your garden can survive a dry stretch without a running hose. Energy means you've reduced external dependency somewhere, even slightly. And storage means your harvest doesn't disappear in 2 weeks. Self-sufficiency isn't a switch, it's a dial. You're not trying to flip it to 100. You're trying to turn it far enough that when prices spike or shelves get thin, it doesn't reach all the way to your table. 50% is that distance. And the fastest way to get there means understanding something almost every beginner gets wrong at the start. Most first-year gardeners grow what they like to eat: tomatoes, lettuce, peppers, cucumbers, herbs. All great to have, none of them will get you to 50%. And this is the part most people never hear. Lettuce is nearly invisible nutritionally. You can grow 50 pounds of it and barely move the needle on your household food supply. It looks productive, it photographs well, but it changes very little. Potatoes are freedom. A 100 square foot patch, 10 by 10 feet, produces 100 to 150 pounds of food in a single season. Food that stores for months without refrigeration. Food that provides calories, energy, and genuine relief from the grocery store. That's the difference between a hobby garden and a food system. The families who hit 50% in a year aren't growing 12 different things in small quantities. They're going deep on 3 crops: potatoes, beans, and winter squash. High yield per square foot, long shelf life, caloric density that makes a dent. This is where most people have what I'd call the moment of recalculation. Once you understand caloric density, you stop asking, "What should I plant?" and start asking, "What will feed us?" Those are completely different questions with completely different answers. Most people miss one more piece of this, and it's the reason a good harvest often leads nowhere. Production without preservation is just waste. You can grow 150 pounds of potatoes, but if you have no storage plan, you'll use 30 pounds before the rest rots. The other 120 pounds, and with them your shot at 50%, disappear. The system isn't just grow more, it's grow, store, extend. That sequence separates people who have a good season from people who build something lasting. This is what it looks like across 12 months. The first thing, and the decision that determines everything that comes after, is growing staples instead of variety. Pick 3 caloric crops and commit to them. Potatoes, beans, and winter squash is the most reliable combination across most American climates. They grow in small spaces, they don't require advanced skill, and they store naturally without refrigeration. A 200 square foot plot, which fits in most backyards and in containers on a large balcony, is enough to start producing serious volume. The second thing most people skip, and it costs them an entire season, is building a compost system from day one. Compost closes the loop. Kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, cardboard, all of it becomes the soil amendment that keeps your garden productive without buying inputs every year. A simple 3-bin system made from wooden pallets takes about 2 hours to build and costs almost nothing. By your second season, you'll have rich compost ready, and your yields will show it. Third, collect rainwater before you need it. 155-gallon barrel connected to a downspout carries a small garden through most dry stretches. In most American climates, that alone cuts garden water dependency by 30 to 40%. Check local regulations first, since most areas allow it. Chain 2 or 3 barrels together and you're holding 150 gallons or more. And fourth, pick one preservation method and master it. Just one. People try to learn canning, dehydrating, fermenting, and freezing all in the same season, and nothing gets done well. Match the method to your most productive crop. Lots of beans, learn to can them. Growing squash, learn cold storage. Tomatoes, basic sauce preservation. One method done well will do more for your 50% goal than 4 methods done poorly. Which of these 4 would you want me to go deeper on? Compost, rainwater, storage, or the staple crops themselves? Drop it in the comments. The most requested topic becomes the next video. And if you want a step-by-step breakdown of this planting and storage plan, including which crops to prioritize for caloric impact, the full guide is in the pinned comment below. It covers exactly the part most people skip: what to grow if you want to stop, depending on the store. The numbers add up faster than most people expect. A 200 square foot garden planted with staple crops produces between 300 and 500 pounds of food in a growing season. That's a lot, but what matters is calories. Calorie-dense crops turn that harvest into months of food, not a 2-week salad run. That family in Ohio I mentioned at the start? Standard suburban backyard, no farming background. By their second season, potatoes alone covered most of their starch consumption from August through February. They didn't change their life, they changed what they decided to plant. On the financial side, families following this kind of system typically save between $800 and $1,500 a year in grocery costs. Some save more depending on what they grow and how consistently they preserve. But the money is the smaller part of it. When you're producing your own staples and storing months of supply at home, something shifts that doesn't show up in a bank account. You stop watching the news about supply chains and price spikes and feeling like it's all happening to you. You feel like you've built a margin, a cushion, a quiet kind of insurance. That's where most people land around month 10 or 11, just solid ground. So why do so many people try this and quit before they get anywhere close to 50%? The same 3 things come up every time: too much variety and not enough volume. First-season gardeners plant 12 different things and end up with small amounts of everything, not enough of any one crop to matter. The fix is to start narrow and go deep. One focused season of staple production beats 3 scattered seasons of variety. Growing without a storage plan, if you don't know where your harvest is going before you plant it, you'll lose most of it. Storage isn't the final step. It's part of the decision you make at planting time. Grow and store are the same thought, not 2 separate tasks. And waiting for better conditions, more space, better soil, more money, the right season. The truth is simpler than most people want it to be. The most productive backyards in the country started messy: borrowed tools, poor soil, disappointing first harvests. But they started. That's the only thing that separates people who get there from people who don't. One more thing worth remembering. As recently as the 1940s, ordinary Americans with no farming background, people in apartments, cities, and small houses with small yards, grew an estimated 40% of the country's vegetables in backyard victory gardens. They weren't preppers. They weren't homesteaders. They were regular people who recognized that dependency is a vulnerability, and they did something about it. What's changed since then isn't human capability, it's the assumption that we no longer need to use it. With food prices still climbing and supply chains still proving fragile, that assumption deserves a harder look. 50% self-sufficient doesn't mean dropping out of the modern world. It means you've built something solid enough that the modern world's disruptions don't reach all the way to your table. Grow staples. Close the loop with compost. Collect water before you need it. Preserve volume, not just variety. Simple enough to start this week. Powerful enough to change how dependent you are within 12 months. If you found this useful, hit like. It helps this channel reach more people thinking about the same things. Subscribe if you want to keep up with this kind of content. And drop a comment. What would you grow first if you started this week? The full planting and storage guide is in the pinned comment if you want to go deeper, and the next video is right there when you're ready. Honestly, I'd order seed potatoes today. If there's one crop that will move your numbers faster than anything else in a first season, it's potatoes. And good variety sells out earlier than most people expect.